Okay, so ready to dive in. Today we're tackling the global stage, taking a close look at a speech by Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
President of the Philippines.
Right, exactly. He gave this at the UN General Assembly.
Back in September 2022.
Yeah, September 2022. Now, I know UN speeches,
Can be a bit dry.
they can be, but this one, trust me, it's got some real gems in it, insights about where the world's heading and what that means, well, for all of us.
You have to remember the context. I mean, this was delivered at a pretty, well,
Tumultuous time.
tumultuous is putting it mildly. Pandemic still fresh. War in Ukraine had everyone on edge.
Global chaos, for sure.
Absolutely. So this wasn't just another routine speech.
This was a leader trying to,
Make sense of it all.
yeah, make sense of this crazy world. And his core message, I think, boils down to this.
Crossroads.
World's at a crossroads, yep. Some serious challenges, but
There's hope.
there's hope. But it's going to take, he says, cooperation and decisive action.
It all within
What he calls, now get ready for this phrase, a rules-based international order.
It sounds
Jargony.
very...
So break it down. What's he talking about?
Think of it like, a global operating system, you know? A set of principles.
Rules of the road,
Exactly, to help nations navigate their relationships.
not just preventing conflict.
No, but fostering cooperation.
Trade, climate change, I mean, look at the pandemic.
Exactly, it showed us.
How interconnected we are.
Precisely.
So it's the framework, this order. It's what kind of holds the global system together. But even with that, he identifies, Marcos Jr., 4 major challenges. First up, the big one.
Climate change,
Climate change, he doesn't mince words, he calls it
the single greatest threat.
facing all of us. And here's where it gets interesting. He points out that the Philippines,
Is the 4th most vulnerable country,
to climate change.
despite being a net carbon sink.
Okay, well, unpack that. Net carbon sink, what is that?
So it means they actually absorb more carbon dioxide.
Then they emit.
Yes. They're essentially doing the planet a favor, but they're hit incredibly hard by the consequences.
Which are largely caused by,
The big emitters.
yeah, industrialized nations, basically.
It raises some serious questions about fairness.
Global responsibility.
Absolutely.
That they bearing the brunt of a problem they didn't even create.
Exactly. So no wonder Marcos Jr. is calling for urgent action.
He's basically saying, look, we're doing our part, but
Others need to step up.
honor those commitments.
Yes, and not just reducing emissions,
Providing support.
financial, technological, to help vulnerable countries adapt.
He's making a point. Climate change isn't just,
Environmental,
it's social, it's economic, it's everything.
and it demands a global response.
All right, challenge number 1, a planet in crisis. What's next on his list?
Well, he moves on to something that's, well, a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Rapid technological advancements.
Tech. We love our gadgets, but what happens when they start reshaping our lives in ways we didn't anticipate? Is that what he's getting at?
Exactly. He sees potential for disruption
Everywhere.
everywhere. Think, AI is so advanced it reshapes the job market.
Changes what it means to be human.
Even that. And who knows what unforeseen
Yeah,
consequences.
yeah, those unintended consequences always popping up.
Right. It's like we're on a runaway train.
And we don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Exciting. Terrifying. Both.
He doesn't offer easy answers, but he suggests we need to think about these issues.
Not just technologically.
But ethically, socially, how do we make sure technology serves humanity?
Big questions.
For all of us, not just world leaders.
Okay, challenge number 2. Tech that could save us or, well, maybe not. What's next?
Not aliens,
Oh, good.
but something that often feels just as unpredictable, geopolitical tensions. Marcos Jr. is concerned about,
Mistrust.
yes, growing mistrust, competition between nations.
Especially in Asia, his own backyard.
He specifically mentions the U.S. and China.
Oh, yeah, that rivalry.
Major global implications.
It's not just those 2 countries.
It affects everyone. Trade wars, military buildups, the whole global economy hanging in the balance.
And for a country like the Philippines that relies on both, talk about walking a tightrope.
It's a delicate balancing act.
So challenge number 3, a world on edge. And I'm guessing this all ties into his 4th challenge
You
here.
got it. Inequalities.
Within and between countries.
And he argues that the pandemic
Oh, he exposed those inequalities.
made them worse.
Remember the vaccine situation. Rich countries hoarding doses while others struggled.
It was a stark reminder.
Of how unequal things are.
And that has huge implications for global stability.
Absolutely. When people feel left behind, like the system's rigged.
It breeds resentment, instability, even conflict.
Wow. So far, not exactly a rosy picture, is it? We've got a planet in crisis, tech running wild, geopolitical tensions, and widening inequality. Is there any good news?
Don't worry, Marcos Jr. doesn't just leave us with problems.
He offers solutions.
Tools, at least, for navigating this landscape.
Okay, I'm ready for some good news. Give me those solutions. So we've laid out the challenges, the big problems facing the world, at least according to President Marcos Jr.
But he doesn't stop there.
All right, he's not all doom and gloom. There's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel.
He offers solutions, or at least approaches.
Ways to navigate this whole mess.
Exactly. He's not just pointing fingers.
He's trying to chart a path forward. Okay, I like that. So what's his first key tool?
Solidarity?
Solidarity? But I'm guessing he means something more than just...
Kumbaya.
Yeah, more than just nations singing together, right? So what does that actually look like?
Deeper commitment?
Okay, but like specific policies, actions.
Oh, yeah. He gets into specifics. For one, a more inclusive UN Security Council.
The big decision-making body.
For international peace and security. Right now, it's dominated by a handful of countries.
Needs an update.
He thinks so.
More voices at the table.
Exactly. More perspectives, more creative solutions.
So checks and balances, making sure everyone's held accountable.
And speaking of accountability, he's a big advocate for international law.
Especially when it comes to
human rights, disarmament. Remember his statement about rejecting nuclear deterrence?
Yeah, a world without nuclear weapons. Ambitious goal.
But that's what solidarity is about, aiming high, working together.
So it's not just words, it's actions too.
Absolutely. He highlights the Philippines' own contributions to UN peacekeeping.
Putting their money where their mouth is.
Showing their commitment to global security.
And I'm guessing this ties back to his concern about inequality.
Absolutely. He wants a system that works for everyone.
Not just the privileged few.
He specifically mentions protecting the vulnerable.
The marginalized, refugees, migrants.
Even brings up the rise of racism, Asian hate.
Urging the world to confront these issues head on.
It's a reminder that solidarity isn't just about nations.
It's about people.
Working together, creating a world where everyone feels safe and respected.
Okay, I like that. So that's solidarity. What's the next tool in his toolkit?
Sustainability.
Sustainability. And we talked about how he sees this as more than just an environmental issue, right?
Much more.
He links it to development, food security, the future of work. It's like the foundation.
Everything else.
Exactly. He's emphasizing that all nations need resources to thrive, to build resilience.
And he connects this to food security. He says, food is not just a trade commodity, it's an existential imperative.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
It really is.
It shows how these issues are all interconnected. You can't have one without the other.
And he brings in the future of work, too.
Automation, AI, all that.
Reshaping the global economy, he's urging nations to prepare.
Investing in education, training, giving people the skills they'll need.
It's about being proactive.
Anticipating change, not just reacting to it.
Empowering people to adapt and thrive.
Okay, so we've got solidarity, we've got sustainability. What's the third element?
Science.
Science. Marcos Jr. believes in the power of science and tech to solve these global challenges.
He sees it as the key to a better future. Renewable energy, life sciences, space exploration.
But like we said before, technology, it's not always a simple solution.
It comes with risks.
Ethical dilemmas. Does he acknowledge that?
He does. He calls for new rules, especially for cyberspace and AI.
To make sure they're used responsibly, ethically.
It's about putting safeguards in place, thinking ahead.
But who decides what responsible use even means?
That's the big question.
It is.
It highlights the need for global dialogue, finding common ground.
Which brings us back to solidarity.
Exactly. If we want to navigate these challenges, we have to work together, share knowledge, find solutions that benefit everyone.
So it's not about every country for themselves.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together.
And that's where Marcos Jr. sees a role for the Philippines.
He highlights their commitment to multilateralism, working with other nations.
He talks about that successful example, the Bangsamoro peace process, right?
He does. He points to it as an example of what dialogue and cooperation can achieve.
It was a long process.
But it led to a peaceful resolution.
Decades-long conflict.
And he suggests that this local success story could offer lessons for the global stage.
So he's not just talking theory.
He's showing how these principles can work in practice.
Taking local successes and scaling them up. Pretty inspiring stuff. But how does this all relate to, the average person? Why should we care about what a world leader said at the UN over a year ago?
Okay, so we've unpacked President Marcos Jr.'s big speech, his vision for the future, all the challenges.
And potential solutions.
Yeah, but I think the big question is, so what? what does this all mean for me, for the average person? It's easy to get lost in these grand global speeches.
And wonder how it connects to everyday life.
Exactly. But trust me, what Marcos Jr. is talking about has real implications for all of us.
Think about climate change, for instance.
It's not some abstract concept anymore.
Right, we're feeling the effects.
Extreme weather, rising sea levels.
Food supply disruptions.
These aren't just headlines, they're real problems that are going to affect each and every one of us.
One way or another.
And then there's the rapid pace of technology, AI, automation.
Not just buzzwords.
They're changing how we work, how we interact, maybe even how we think.
Reshaping entire societies.
And let's not forget those geopolitical tensions.
Like the U.S.-China rivalry. That has ripple effects.
Across the global economy.
Impacting prices, job security, everything.
It all comes back to that idea of interconnectedness.
What happens on the other side of the world affects us here.
Whether we realize it or not.
Okay, so we're all connected. The world's messy, big challenges ahead. But what can we as individuals actually do about any of this? Do our choices even matter?
Well, Marcos Jr.'s speech offers some clues. Remember solidarity.
Yeah.
It's not just about government.
It's about individuals, too.
Making choices that support sustainability, promote understanding, contribute to a more just world.
So, thinking globally, acting locally. What does that look like, practically speaking?
It could be simple things, reducing your carbon footprint,
Supporting ethical businesses,
engaging in respectful dialogue, even when you disagree.
recognizing we're part of a global community, our actions matter.
Even small ones, they have a collective impact.
I like that it's not about feeling powerless. It's about finding those points where we can make a difference.
Even if it's just in our own little corner of the world.
Marcos Jr. ended his speech with a powerful message, he said. The future beckons, and we can embark upon that journey as single nations or as a world in harmony. I say let the challenges of one people be the challenges for all nations. In that way, the success of one will be a success for us all.
It's a call to action.
To step outside our bubbles.
Embrace the interconnectedness.
We have a choice, retreat, or work together.
For a future that benefits everyone.
It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving together.
Recognizing our shared humanity.
Our shared responsibility.
Choosing hope over fear.
Collaboration over isolation.
Action over apathy.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up this deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
From global politics to personal choices.
We've explored President Marcos Jr.'s vision for the future.
With all its complexities.
And hopefully we've given you some food for thought, new perspectives.
And maybe even a little bit of hope.
Because the future is what we choose to make it.